What a week. What a week. David Zaritsky for the Bond Experience. Welcome back. I had to take a moment and talk about the week we just had before us. I think you were probably all paying attention. A couple pieces of news that I thought I should react to. First of all, the week started out pretty innocent. We started talking about Aaron Taylor Johnson. Now, this is an actor I've known for some time. I liked him in the original Kick-Ass movie. Kick-Ass 2, he got all buff and worked out. I mean, the guy really looked like he knew how to handle action, which I thought was really cool. The other thing that I liked about him was he seemed to have a very Britishness about himself. If you've seen him in some of the movies that he's come out with, he just has that certain, look, this is me saying this as a Yank, this panache that it seems like British people have innately. I think it's probably blood and culture and environment that all come together that makes somebody the Britishness of things. I don't know. Thomas Crichton could probably tell you better. But for some reason, he has it. He has that warmth, if you will, that glow that I look for when I think of Bond. So what happened? Well, there were rumors abound. And mind you, this discussion in and of itself is part of what Bond fans love to do. Sorry if some of you cranked on this video and they're like, rumor mill, grains of salt. I get it. It's all speculation. And speculation in and of itself is fraught with the dangers of it's probably going to be inaccurate. But what else do we have? Do you want to see another review on a keychain? Or could we talk about possibly the next Bond? All right, so settle in. So Aaron Taylor Johnson, rumors started that he could be the one because he was seen at some Eon parties. He's got the look. But the other thing is, of course, somebody started a rumor that they had actually filmed with him a gun barrel sequence to tease out the movie at the end of March. And this is where things kind of get interesting because, I don't know, this is where the worlds start to collide. Now, stay with me on this if you can, and you will. But I've got a situation where I always take a look at the products. And when I saw him at an Omega party, interesting. When I heard that Omega was going to release their 60th anniversary fully in Q1, which could be the end of March, and then I hear that this gun barrel might be released at the end of March, I'm thinking like, is this the crushing of a few worlds? And what gets really, really interesting in this is when you think about things like people sending me this picture right here. Now, let me blow this up for all of those of you in the cheap seats. So that is Aaron Taylor Johnson, albeit his hair not looking very Bondish, but that's naturally what he has, is curly hair. He's got that chiseled look of Bond, though, you have to admit. But on his left wrist is, ladies and gentlemen, well, yeah, it's an Omega. It's an Omega watch. To me, that's pretty cool. That's a situation where I'm like, Omega watch timing. Do you see what I'm saying? Like this is like where the dark detectives come out. This is where we start to put all of these things together, and maybe they equate to something. I mean, here's another one of him at that same party, and he's looking happy, looking pretty fly. But more importantly, look at that wristwatch. It's an Omega. Now, again, this is the part of speculation, and it's why mind readers who read minds for a living, they do incredibly well because they come up with all of these things that are just not really based on fact. They're based on observations, and they weave the observations together. And that's what we do when we speculate about the newest Bonds. We take circumstances that are just that, coincidences and circumstances, like wearing an Omega watch and being at a party, and that's other celebrities at, and going, he's got to be the new Bond. But I tell you, it wouldn't be a bad idea. And I said this on a recent post on my Instagram, where I kind of like Aaron Taylor Johnson. I do. He's, if you've seen Bullet Train, and if you haven't, go check him out. He can play wry, pithy humor. I mean, here he is. He plays an assassin, bad guy that has sort of a interesting character arc during this, even in a whap stack comedy gore fest like Bullet Train, a mediocre film, but he does a really good job with the comedy. But what he really excels in, ladies and gentlemen, is the action. He's really believable in the action. He's a very physical individual. Look, he's played superheroes. He's played funny. He's played good acting chops as well. He's done some very serious films. Check, check, check. And I will say, for those of you that have said that others are too old, he's 32 years old. By the time he gets to filming, he's still 32. Time the new film comes out, he's 33 and a half. When people go chronologically in connection to could this be a good Bond, I think he serves it up perfectly. He's young enough. And don't forget, the producers have already said, that they want their Bond to be a little bit more experienced, but certainly young enough to hold a genre for some time. So this was really interesting. And maybe you wouldn't be surprised about how many people on this Instagram thread that I put out. There was over 150 comments of people going, the majority saying yes. Aaron Taylor Johnson, he's got all the things. He's got the look, he's got the factor, he's got the young factor, he's got the funny factor, he's got the acting chops. I could visualize him as Bond. And by the way, me, who's been a stalwart for other people, got on it, and it even passed Danielle's tough approval. And I'm like, this guy's knocking it out of the park. Like, could he be one of the first Bonds outside of Brosnan to be universally embraced as James Bond? And we went about our lives, Aaron Taylor Johnson dancing in our Christmas heads. It's pretty interesting. Until something happened. And here's that something right here. First of all, let's blow that up nice and big, David. Help your audience out. Here we go. Henry Cavill put this on his social media. I'm going to read it word for word. I have just had a meeting with James Gunn and Peter Safran, and it's sad news, everyone. I will, after all, not be returning as Superman. After being told by the studio to announce my return back in October, prior to their hire, this news isn't the easiest, but that's life. The changing of the guard is something that happens. I respect that. James and Peter have a universe to build. I wish them and all involved with the new universe the best of luck and the happiest of fortunes. For those who have been by my side throughout the years, we can mourn for a bit, but then we must remember Superman is still around. Everything he stands for still exists, and the examples he sets for us are still there. My turn to wear the cape has passed, but what Superman stands for never will. It's been a fun ride with you all, onward and upwards. Holy cow. Talk about a mic drop. Talk about a bomb being dropped. I mean, we were all celebrating that at least Henry Cavill would be our Superman again and give it another chance to do a really great movie. And then this happens. First of all, let me address something. Let me address that post. Talk about a class act. I mean, other people could have been snarky or veiled little things within their vernacular and copy. He and his team took the high road. I mean, clearly this was something that was a disconnect. Who knows which side it was a disconnect on, but it was something that was announced and then just pulled away. And I will tell you, the reaction has been interesting. People are reeling from it. They're like, what the hell? This was our Superman. This is our Superman. He is the Christopher Reeve baton taker of our generation. We were going to give him another chance. We were all excited. Maybe he couldn't be Bond, but maybe he was going to be Superman. And then this happens. And he took the high road out. But let's peel away the onion. Let's take the stalks of the avocado off. It's not an avocado, David. It's not. No, it's an artichoke. Use the right vernacular. We're not editing this because this is a stream of consciousness. So let's talk about this. So let's talk about Henry Cavill. You know already, you could go back on my videos, that he's been a favorite, but I think he's been a fan favorite. He's divisive, meaning some people either love him or they don't. I think more people do love him. Some people said his acting is wooden. Some people said he's too big, broad. There were a variety of reasons. And there's better videos on this one to talk about them. But let's go over some of the journey of Henry Cavill. First of all, he had a commercial that came out earlier in the year around his water. And literally in that commercial, he walks by a very interesting DB5 and he talks about opportunities. And in that discussion, he talks also about living life on the journey being long and making decisions. I mean, and we were all lit. If you remember that the commercial was reposted and we all talked, is this a precursor or a tease to Eon finally going the commercial route and getting a name brand, meaning Henry Cavill, to put butts in seats, just like a Tom Cruise, just like literally having Tom Cruise as a name brand that gets butts in seats for Mission Impossible. Could Eon finally be going the brand route for James Bond? Could they be finally doing that? And it was very interesting and there was a lot of talk. Then we had a part of the journey where he announced he's stepping away from The Witcher. Now they talked about producer disconnects and the disconnect to the character, and it really wasn't the character he wanted anymore, but it was still something we could gravitate to. Hold on a second, water commercial, and now he's stepping away from The Witcher? Yeah, wow, could this be something? And yes, we all came back, and even new people to the Henry Cavill camp came on board and said, I'm on board. I could see him being, I think it'd be a fun James Bond when we think about the type of James Bond that we want. Fun, frivolity, heroic. He fits all those things. Does he look like Bond? Does he make a lot of our significant others go a little gushy? Yeah. I mean, that's part of being Bond is, you know, the guy walks into a room and people are just like, ah. So that's all part of it. So to me, even Argo and some of these other things or Argyle that talks about the spy genre, that's a moment that's already been filmed. We thought it's cleared the decks. But then Superman was like, hold on a second. Maybe he's going to be distracted for a bit. And then this happens. And so, of course, what's happening is the entire internet is lit up again. And my YouTube channel is hankering for a hunk of cheese. It's hankering for a discussion about this very thing. And it's really kind of the speculation of these almost warring stories. You've got Aaron Taylor Johnson, and then, of course, you've got Henry Cavill, who is back in the discussion. We are talking, is this guy potentially cutting the suit flare like you see here in potentially being Bond? Could this decision, now hear me out, could this decision, although press-wise seem like a DC decision or a James Gunn who's taken over DC, or could this be a conversation that's finally come to a head? I don't know. We don't know. The reality is that a lot of us don't know, but one thing is for sure, we've got a situation where he's back. I mean, if it wasn't a discussion around Superman and finding the time, this guy could be James Bond. Listen, it's possible. Now, one thing we have to address. Let's talk about the Aaron Taylor, Henry Cavill alignment, the line that divides. Because if we're thinking about certain attributes that we've all weighed these two actors, let's talk about age first. So you've got Aaron Taylor, who's 32. You've got Henry Cavill, who's 39. And a lot of people are saying right now, Henry Cavill's too old. Too wooden, too built, too old. But David, too old. So Eon won't consider them by the time he starts getting filmed. He's going to be 40. The time of the release of a film, maybe 42. It's too old. It's too old. It's going to be, what is he going to do a couple things all at once? And then he's going to be 55 by the time of his last film? Could happen. But more importantly, what if, and a few of you have thrown this across the transom here, what if Eon said, let's film some of these films back to back, which is, of course, a technique that they're doing today. Look at Mission Impossible, how they filmed the last two back to back, which worked very well, is very efficient, very cost efficient. And the actor's the same age in both films, even though it's released a few years apart. It's been done before. Back to the Future, anyone? Right? So what if they were to do that with Henry Cavill and film two films back to back, wait a year, and then film two more back to back? Then you've got four. Follow the math, follow the bouncing math. You've got four that are back to back practically within just a couple of years. And yet he's still in his early 40s, that slightly more seasoned Bond. But here's the other thing I want to address about age. And hear me out with this. Age is a number. Age is a number. So if you look your age, if you are cragged up and if you've been smoking and not taking care of yourself, you will look every minute of your age. I don't care what age you are. You'll look every minute of it. If you're 55 and you don't work out or you don't take care of your skin, whatever it is, you're going to look your age. The ravages of time, you can't stop it. But if you're healthy and you're a superstar and you have products and fun things like that to deal with, those wonderful Korean face masks that add a certain dewiness to it, you can look younger than your age. I mean, there are actors, they're called actors for a reason, that have played older, and there are actors that have played younger. So I think he could do this. And from an energy level, from a fighting level, I think that, yes, Henry Cavill could possibly still be that individual. But again, we still have to talk about the two of them together. And here they are in all their glory. So I think a lot of people are talking about Henry Cavill as opposed to Aaron Taylor being a missed opportunity. What do I mean by that? Missed opportunity meaning if we were going to get on the Henry Cavill bandwagon, it should have happened a few years ago, almost directly after No Time to Die, or even during, where they were already starting to film or produce or get the person in order. And now it's a little bit too late. You know, now it's too much of a name, or he's again too old, as opposed to Aaron Taylor, who is clearly the younger, and I'm going to just say this too, unknown choice. And a lot of us have gravitated to the fact that Eon likes the slightly more unknown, you know, think of Pierce Brosnan, but certainly Timothy Dalton, and my gosh, George Lazenby. Roger Moore was a little bit well known to the TV audience, but Aaron Taylor Johnson, he's not a household name. Henry Cavill is a household name. But I'm going to get a little bit selfish here, a little bit selfish. The other aspect that I think about, I don't think has been addressed by anyone. And that is, out of these two gentlemen, who do I want as Bond and why? And one of the top reasons, and hear me out, is going to surprise you. It's not the way they look or the way they act or their Britishness or if they're a household name or too old or too young. It's what type of a James Bond ambassador they're going to be. It's huge for me as an advocate of the Bond community, as somebody that really hopes that more and more in the future, the workings, you know, the connection between actors and fans and the fan community and, you know, people like me and others straddling the line, which is happening right now between journalism and fandom. And that's okay, because that's how the world works now. It's not, you know, a traditional antiquated version of what it used to be. Then what type of ambassador are these two individuals going to be? We know already that Henry Cavill is a self-proclaimed geek, but he's also one of the nicest guys in Hollywood. He is nice to every journalist. He's not only embracing of their questions, he's patient. He goes along with everything. He's good fun. I've seen him on Japanese shows where they sort of want to make a fool of himself, and he's right there for the ride. And that's just how he is. He's a nice guy and super, here's the pun, look at me go, super appreciative of the roles that he's been given, but especially the way the fans have embraced him. Unbelievably so. Aaron Taylor Johnson, he's unknown. And I haven't heard bad things. It's not like I've heard that he's a disaster, but I think we've been a little hit and miss as far as the ambassadorship of James Bond. I mean, you've got the extremes like Roger Moore, who were in the most incredible, would give every fan the time of day and purposely put himself out there to the fan community to embrace the people that he knew were really his bosses, the people that would pay for the tickets, and the journalists and people that the media that would really make him a part of who he is. And so I want that type of individual. Aaron Taylor Johnson is an unknown entity. Now, the media has attacked him in the past for his wife's age and differential in the age. She's much older than him. To me, it's stupid. I mean, I'm going to say it again. Age is a number. And if you let it affect you, you let it affect you. But the day that you, as an individual, stop letting what other people say about you affect you is the day that you really become yourself, your true self, and you just don't care. And you lose your embarrassment gene, and you just don't care. And you have so much more fun in life. Trust me, I know. I have a YouTube channel. I don't know if you noticed. And so you gravitate to the 99% positive, and the 1% you slough off, you neutralize, you thrust it out there into the phantom zone. Another Superman thing. Look at me go. Must be the morning when I'm doing this. So it's tough for me. I'm of two minds, of course I am, where I've got these two gentlemen. Speculations abound right now. Aaron Taylor Johnson, they say through decent sources, I guess, that he's done a gun barrel. So if there's an announcement in March where it's Aaron Taylor Johnson, am I going to be disappointed that it's not Henry Cavill? No. I say I'm on board the Aaron Taylor Johnson train. Give him a try. If it is, I will say, if it is our man Henry, then it's going to feel like a very comfortable blanket, something that I've spent years thinking about and getting to know. So although Aaron Taylor Johnson is a relatively new thought in my mind process, I'm on board as long as whoever does it does a great job in embracing Fleming's character and Bond, all the different tropes that we love, the heroic nature, the tropes that we embrace. Yeah, look at me, check, 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 check. And takes the character seriously, but most of all, cherishes the fact that they got the job to begin with, and that the fans are at the very foundation of who they are. So guess what? We will continue to speculate. Right now, we're taking it all in. I thought I would give you my point of view on this. I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to ask for your comments below. I'm going to read every single one. May not respond to every single one. I have a feeling this is going to be a popular video, but I'm going to respond to everyone. I want to hear from you. What do you think? Which camp are you in? Or do you think these are all disasters? I want your opinion below. Like I said, I'll read every single one. In the meantime, this has been David Zaritsky for the Bond Experience. We'll keep watching the internet. We'll see. Take care. Thanks for watching this episode. If you want to be up on the latest from the Bond Experience, just click on this subscribe and subscribe to our channel. You're going to get all the latest and greatest information, plus some exclusive content. And by the way, speaking of content, here's something especially for you, just because we know you. Talk to you soon.